All right, well, tonight, Susan Lee and David Littleproud are still locked in a stalemate over whether the coalition can reunite. Susan Lee says the coalition could reform as soon as this week, but only if her conditions are met.
The coalition can reform this week with conditions that are supported by the overwhelming majority of my party room.
And meanwhile, this could be Susan Lee's final week as Liberal leader. I've spoken to Liberal sources and there are rumblings that there could be a challenge in support of Angus Taylor as early as next week. Well, let's bring in now former Victorian Liberal Party President Michael Kroger and Sky News host Joe Hildebrand.
Good evening.
Great to see you
Welcome
both.
back.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.
Sharri?
Michael, so what do you think is happening here? If Susan Lee doesn't get the coalition back together, are we likely to see a challenge from Angus Taylor or his supporters next week?
I doubt that, but I think they will get back together. I mean, it's imperative for the centre-right in Australian politics to have a coalition. I mean, it would be electoral suicide for us to go it alone, the National Party to go it alone, One Nation, other splinter groups on the right. I mean, historically, the centre-right is better when the Liberal and the National Party is in coalition. Even when we've had a majority in our own right, we've ruled in coalition. This goes back to Menzies, to Fraser, to Howard. So there'll be give and take on both sides, and I assume they will come back together. By the way, one of the other reasons why I think the National Party will agree is that, and no one has yet worked this out, if you don't have a coalition, Sharri, then there's no reason for a joint Senate ticket in Victoria and New South Wales. So Bridget McKenzie comes up for re-election in 2028 from Victoria, and Ross Cadell does in New South Wales from the National Party. They're both elected on a joint Senate ticket. So if there's no coalition, there's probably no joint Senate ticket, and McKenzie and Cadell have to run as National Party candidates, not on a coalition ticket, and neither of them will win because their vote will be well below the One Nation vote. The other minor right-wing parties will probably preference One Nation before the National Party, so McKenzie and Cadell will both lose their seats if there's no coalition. And now that's up to the Victorian New South Wales division leadership, obviously not me, but it would be ludicrous for there to be a joint Senate ticket and the Liberal Party to give away two spots if there's no coalition.
I mean, Joe, the bigger picture here is that, you know, the Albanese government is getting away with everything, whether it's national security, the aftermath of Bondi, or the economy. And I just don't understand how the coalition can prolong this chaos. It is so self-destructive.
It's staggering. It's the most idiotic self-immolation I've ever seen in politics. I do not even understand. You can't actually lower your analytical, critical thinking to the level
Agreed.
to actually understand what the coalition is thinking. It's like trying to think like a 5-year-old in a school playground. Even, you know, members of the coalition are just scratching their heads and saying to me, I don't know what happened. What just happened? Why is this? Why did we do it again? The idea that you're then in talks with, talk about shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. The idea that Lee is now in talks with Littleproud about whether the 3 front benches are suspended from the shadow cabinet for 6 months or whether they return immediately. I mean, honestly,
it's insanity.
It is insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really
make it
is.
6 months. That'll stop One Nation. Like, you absolute numpties. Like the idea that, and this is the thing, and you saw this coming out when they were talking. I loved Michael holding the pre-selections over their head, by the way, because it's only self-interest that's motivating these people. But, the idea that you would have these people coming out even after this stupid split that didn't need to happen and has condemned Susan Lee's leadership to death. They're saying, oh, no, because we were at that meeting and I sent an email. No, we didn't say this. We actually let them know. I mean, it's kind of like people sitting around a Parisian cafe debating existentialism while the building's burning down. It is just
And I have
nuts.
to tell you, every day over the past few weeks, I've been interviewing these deeply traumatised survivors of Bondi, all the family members of people who were killed. And then, you turn on the news, you step away from the interview, you look at the news and you see the Nationals are resigning and Susan Lee saying this, and you just think, I can't believe you lot are not holding the Albanese government to account after this terror attack. It makes me furious with all sides of politics. Cannot deal with them right now. Unbelievable. They've got to get their act together.